Hi, I'm Shannon McGee with Network in Action in Music City, Tennessee. Today, I am with Kayla Curry with Organization Impact. Good morning, Kayla. How are you?
Hey, good morning, Shannon. Great to be with you today.
Thank you for joining me. So tell me, share with us why you started your company.
Absolutely. It's my baby, right? Isn't that's probably how everybody feels about their business and their world. Organization Impact was started in 2006. From a college dream, believe it or not. I had the opportunity to do an internship with a consulting firm, much like mine, back in college, and I got bit. To be able to see that light bulb come on inside an organization and to see real growth and movement on the people side of the business. So fast forward 2006, after several years of industry experience in a lot of different companies, it really began just to underscore again the need and the goal that I had for this business. I through over 15 years, I had worked in several different industries. And regardless of the industry, you always found common issues. And it was usually on the people side. And it was a disconnect of leaders at the top feeling and truly believing this is what our culture's like. This is what our strength is in the organization on the people side. And then when you talk to the employees, throughout every level of the organization, they said, that's not really what it feels like to work here. And so it was that disconnect. And so that really was that moment, right, where I said, it's time to put that shingle out there and be a resource to organizations. And so that's really where it started. And so we've been around now for 16 years, almost 16 years. And what we do hasn't changed, which is pretty phenomenal. How we do it has in a lot of ways, right? There, leaders and teams need those skills and those core skills of what they do and how do we do it well. And those are principles. So they just look different depending on what the organization is or maybe the industry that they're in. Everybody needs help, like we get stuck or we need a game plan and a sounding board. And that's how the coaching helps. And oftentimes for businesses, they don't have a resource that can take on some of those projects around talent development to just go ahead and work the kinks out and give them a plan. And so that's where the consulting piece comes into play. So I love what I do. I get to meet people from all over the country and in a lot of different industries, and you find some nuance that they have found that works so well that we're able to share with our other clients. So I love it.
That's great. Speaking of changing the way we do things and people, everybody has been impacted from the pandemic in one way or another. So tell us how it's, impacting, your business or your clients' businesses, because I really do think at the core of it, as you said, is the people are feeling the greatest change during these times.
They absolutely are, and in reality, the pandemic has shifted so many aspects of how we do what we do. And in organizational life, it has really impacted the culture that an organization has. And so one of the biggest impacts that I have found from my clients, as well as even, with my colleagues, right, is really, really honing in to determine how do you create a strong culture if we're not physically together anymore. And some organizations have been some form of virtual for a long time, but a lot of companies have not. So how do you create that connectedness? How do you define the leadership skill that's needed when I actually see your face every day to now we see each other on Zoom? That's a different energy. That's a different dynamic. So how do you coach? How do you lead your team? How do you hold them accountable if you have to have that tough conversation? And then how do you keep your entire team connected? So you have that cohesiveness, and that's the stickiness, right, around team cultures. So a lot of work has gone virtual, which is very doable. It's just recalibrating how we do what we do around whether it's a skill development component or whether it's actually let's role play this. How are you going to do this with your teammate? So that's what I'm finding. And in a surprising way, many of my clients have discovered before the pandemic, we never thought we could have done X. in a virtual way or in a completely different way, but we did because we had to. And so now we're taking that mindset to say, if you don't have to now, what do you learn? What did you learn from that experience? And what does that mean for your culture going forward? And there's a lot of work to be done there. There's some strategy work. There's absolutely some equipping and skill building that has to happen. And there's a monitoring piece to that. Like we've done these things. How do we know it's working? And how do we keep the right kind of guardrails in place to make sure we can tweak and change and adapt? So much of the work that I'm doing now is strategy, right? People are saying, what's our culture going to look like in 2022? And that's exciting, but it's some hard work at times as well. But I think it's here to stay, right? I mean,
absolutely.
It might not be a shutdown like we experienced in 2020, but some version of that is now a part of how we have to think. So I think it's real, and a lot of times a company needs to get outside of itself for a moment, and they need someone that doesn't live there every day to ask the questions that we sometimes inside our world never even think to ask. So it's an exciting time. It is still a time of uncertainty, but that creates opportunity.
Kayla, I love your passion for people. It comes through in everything you're saying, and I can definitely see what a benefit it would be for companies to work with you. So if they want to get a hold of you, what's the best way to reach you?
Oh, thank you, Shannon. And I would love to meet. I would love to meet folks. I'm a relationship builder naturally. And so I want that opportunity. So the best way for people to reach me, two ways. One, absolutely reach out via phone. Love a text or a phone call from you. And that number is 615-424-4766. Or via email is also a great way to find me. And that's Kayla@organizationimpact.com.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Kayla. I enjoyed talking to you. Have a great, wonderful day.
Thank you so much. I enjoyed it.